Camp is back. It's rolling for the rookies and the particular quarterbacks that have to throw to them and get them ready. A lot going on, a lot of action to start. And we're going to talk about who is hitting the ground running up in St. Joe for Chiefs camp tonight on RGR Football, the Sunday Breakdown. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're doing well. It is the first evening after the first start of the training camp for 2022. I know everybody's really excited. I am too. So this is like the kickoff of the Believe season. This is it. Believe in 2022. It's going to be different. It's not going to look the same, but we have to start from that basis. And I feel like they've gotten off to a good start already. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics. You've seen me on NFL 33, where we cover the rest of the league, the rest of my staff, and Dan. You know you want to check that out. You've seen us on Locked On Chiefs. You've seen Dan do the football thing for Fantasy Argonauts. It is all kinds of stuff coming here tonight, and we're here to talk about the Chiefs. Now, this is the Sunday Breakdown. This is the live show that we do after games, and we do it all season long to bring up current topics, do that kind of thing. If you're new to us, make sure you hit the like to help us out on this video. Make sure you hit the sub to help you out on future videos as we go through film, stat analysis, all kinds of breakdowns about front office to player personnel. We'll have some players on. A lot goes on here on the channel. This is the original Chiefs niche channel on YouTube, and we're glad to be back for another season. I hope you guys are ready. For you Rogue heads, welcome back. All you alums, I see a bunch of you in there. Terry and Holly, Gary, how are you? A couple of new faces as well. I hope you guys are all doing well. I know it's Sunday, and I know it's stormy in Kansas City tonight, and that's okay. Looks like they had a pretty good practice, but definitely tomorrow is not open to the public, but they are going to practice again so long as it's weather permitting. So we really just want to go over what we've seen the first 2 days, and they call this rookie mini camp. They had one of those during the offseason, but it really is just those days to get in the groove, to find where everything's at, the Scanlon Hall down to where you can eat, down to the practice fields, where are the meeting rooms, all those kinds of things help the rookies and select newcomers as well to get kind of acclimated to what's going on. So it's a good time for them to be in that kind of situation. And for the quarterbacks, it just lets them get rolling. We saw that Andy Reid's been spending some time with Crum, a rookie that is a guy that stood out to me on tape. You guys heard about me talking about him during the draft process, a guy that I thought had an outside chance to get drafted. He showed some flash, but has a lot of things he has to work on, but he's got some moxie. He's got that kind of it factor about making sure that he pulls his team back within whatever they have to do in order to have success. And I think that he's a guy that's going to be fun to watch. Can he beat out Michelle? I don't know. We're going to have to find out. There's ups and downs there for both guys, strengths and weaknesses. So we'll see. Can he beat out Chad Henne? No. Chad Henne will be the backup this season. And that is actually a good thing as well, because it rounds out the quarterback room, and Patrick has his go-to guy that's been there backing him up for quite a long time. And that, I think, eases what Patrick needs to do, takes a load off of where he's trying to get to. Now, a lot of attention, obviously, in the offseason going on around the pass catchers, and they've started out pretty hot. Skyy Moore got a lot of attention yesterday, and that's why I put him on the cover, because Andy's playing him up, and Andy's really talking about, just as they've started off, it really helps that he's recovered from the hamstring issue. He's good to go. He's 100%. Looks like he's moving around really well. Daryl, thank you. That really helps. If you guys would do that, hit that thumbs up. It lets the rest of the YouTube world know that, hey, if you want to talk Chiefs football, this is the place to be. There's other channels that are worth watching as well, some that aren't worth watching, but this one is the original, as we tell you how it is, and we tell you how it works, and we tell you what's going to happen before it happens. I really enjoy that, and so does the rest of the crew around here. I hope you guys are enjoying the newest edition. Gary McKenzie, he'll be up again this week as we get into our season kind of roll. We've got a couple other tweaks coming for you as well. That said, Stevie's in the house. Like to see him. Everybody, give a clap out for Aaron and Liz Morrow. They're not gonna make it tonight, but I know that they like to know that everybody's thinking of them. We certainly are. Stevie's here. Gooch may be here later. You can watch them on Roguehead Huddle. That came out yesterday. They have some member stuff coming up that's going to be pretty cool. You don't want to miss that. Holly's here, and thank you, Miss Holly. Appreciate you. I was just going to ask about Skyy Moore's injury, but you answered it. So here's a super chat. Well, thank you. I appreciate the support. And I don't want to get off track. I don't want to poo-poo that any. So here's the thing. Just the fact that he's healthy is a big plus because he didn't get that many reps in OTAs. So this is the point where, hey, if he can hit the ground running here in the first 3 days, get up to speed, really get rolling, it's a lot of upside for Skyy Moore. And I think that is exactly what everybody's been kind of wishing for, hoping for. It's on the back burner because he's a rookie and there's a lot of other investment going on, right? With MVS and Juju, and you want Mecole Hardman. He had a nice little clip the other day catching one-handers. I think he's got some folks feeling very optimistic about where he's at as well. And so kind of the fact that you're a rookie takes a little bit of pressure off of you, and I think that's good for Skyy. But it also tells us that, hey, he could be somebody that sneaks up on you a little bit. So Andy went out of his way to mention about how his lower body's built like a running back. That's what Andy said. Now, I haven't seen him up close, but on film, he certainly looks powerful in the lower body. Now, I wouldn't have called him a running back, but if that's what Andy says, that's what Andy says. I'm here to go with it. But he certainly is a guy that I think plays through contact pretty well. We saw him accelerate, really like the ball in his hands on his college film, what little we could find of it. But I think that is part of what you're seeing as another option, whereas MVS is a straight line kind of jump ball guy, whereas Juju is a little bit of muscle route running kind of thing. Skyy's a little bit more of that with some better yak options. And I think that really comes in handy when you put that all together with Mecole Hardman, who's all speed and has to throttle down in order to really, I think, make some of those routes sell, which I think is something he's going to be working on. So I'm really happy that the fact that Andy Reid chose to call out Skyy Moore off the get-go, because I think he's the guy that has been underrated to this point. And if attention is spread elsewhere, we haven't even talked about Travis Kelce. I mean, that's another thing. We'll get to that in a minute. With Travis Kelce on top of that, he's the guy that could surprise defenses and surprise all of us in how much he's kind of the odd man out that teams don't feel they have to prioritize in coverage. And he actually gets some of those sneaky plays. It all starts here today in what he's doing. The other thing that Andy had to remind us of is he did have the biggest hands in the draft, and he's really using them. And he keeps saying that it's the third time he's mentioned Skyy Moore's hands because he is so big in the catching department. It's going to help him. And I think that's going to help his transition into the offense just a little bit faster. Sorry, I need a little bit of water here. Been working on the new house all weekend, and it's been kind of crazy. So, Jeremy, I like that. And Miss Holly, thank you again for the support, folks. If you want to support the channel, Super Chats are the easiest way to do it. The coolest way to do it is probably to go get some gear in the RGR store. We have a bunch of new designs coming up, too. What Would Veach Do's coming, the 177 shirt, a lot coming at you, but appreciate that. And if you guys haven't, there'll be a link here in the show for the Leo Chanel limited edition shirt. Now that it's finally been updated to his number, that is in the books as well. You can get that over at the Teespring store for RGR right now. But Jeremy, you had a good comment that I want to put up there. Steve Smith Sr., really like that. There's another kid that reminded me of him all draft cycle, and Jarrett Stearns, who ended up as a UDFA in Miami. Watch out for him. I don't know if he's going to make that roster. He might become a free agent, and that would be really interesting to put in Kansas City because more Juju. I think that could be a really tough combination. But Andy, I think, sees that as well. I had a little bit more dazzle to his game, so I didn't really make that comparison, but I'm glad that you brought it up. So let's see. Who else do you guys have? Oh, Terry, that's a very good point. I'll get to that in a little bit. As we go through the rest of what's been happening, Skyy Moore was the focus yesterday. I know Dan's not here tonight, but you guys should give him a clap because Cornell Powell had a great day today. Now, Cornell gets to play with the rookies because he wasn't an active participant in enough games last year. He wasn't active enough weeks last year. So he gets to be in with the rookies and make that adjustment again. Cornell Powell It literally caught everything today. And multiple beat reporters have kind of told me about how well he's doing in terms of his difference from last year to this year. Is it enough to make the roster? I still doubt it. But it's nice to see that kind of progression. And that is something that makes people feel like you're in a position to help the team and get going and maybe contribute. And good for him for that. Now, the other one that has been rolling both days, and again, it's because he's coming off of injury and because he had limited active weeks last year. Jody Fortson is able to be in the rookie 3-day camp here before the veterans report, even though he's a veteran. And he looks back really, really well. Herbie Theoby's pumping him up a ton. There's very few people that are more high on Jody Fortson than me, and Herbie Theoby's one of them. You can read him at the Star. I know you guys all know where to find him, but I'm pumped because he looks like he's 90+% back. Look very smooth in drills, and he's a guy that he spoke today about like how it got there and how he made his recovery. And he gave a shout out to the training team. Definitely something that you want to do. That really came in handy, I felt, because there's a lot that can come if you're going to like get in and rehab. You got to get something done. And I'm trying to find a picture of him so I can show you guys because he did look pretty dang good. And I like seeing that myself as he comes along. He's got to. And that's just the way that it goes. Let me see if I can share that. I'll get that up on the screen there for you. Because he looks even that much more prepared is the way that I want to call that. So, he's just this image that came out today. He's confident. He's prepared. He's a guy that understands where he's going. And I think that's what you want to know. Now, he's been through this before. He's been in this situation where he has to keep pushing. He definitely has to keep pushing. And he talked about that today some, about how the staff, the training staff in particular, really helped him push through on those days that he didn't want to work. And he didn't want to make sure that he was maintaining and always striving every day. He talked about his teammates as well. And I think that goes for showing you like the bulk of what this roster is and trying to lift each other up. That's the way that you make a team work. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Is it can't be just one person. It's got to be a team effort. And that's really where winning comes from at the end of the day. Royce, not a big deal. FYI, if you could be on my computer, my video will freeze from time to time for just a second. Yeah, it's very stormy where I'm at now. My new internet is better, but it is affected by weather still. So bear with me as we kind of work through that. I appreciate you letting me know, though, Red. And you guys, thanks for your patience here. Jody is a guy that I think can play that tight end 2 role. I think what we saw from him last season, he is able to step back up. And with this recovery and with his teammates' support and everybody kind of pushing him forward, I think they see and realize that he's a guy that can be a weapon in this offense, especially now that Tyreek over-the-top kind of stuff is gone. And now you're going to narrow it back down and you're going to have opportunities. And it's going to be about matchups because they're going to try to take away Travis and they're going to single up everybody else. We might still see 7 and 8 man drops into coverage, but it's going to be focused on Travis. And it's going to allow that many more guys to have an opportunity. I think Jody's a guy that is primed to take the most advantage of it by getting those passes where somebody's way over here looking for Travis and Jody's just lining up right down the seam. I think between the hash marks in the seams is where the Chiefs are going to make money all year long on both sides of the ball. They have to defend it as a primary resource because the linebacker is going to be attacked considerably, as well as the 2 rookies that are going to start from the get-go. But down the seams is where they have to defend and they have to attack. I think Jody's going to be a big part of that. The other guy that stood out to me today is old Kennard. Kennard makes me happy because I think in the end, he's a guy that's going to buy in, get nasty, and make his presence felt. I'm going to try to share that again a little bit bigger here because it's worth it. He's a guy that came into camp with blue hair. He's got part of it dyed or whatever. He played at Kentucky, so it made a ton of sense. He said when he left after OTAs, he's going to take care of it. Well, he's dyed in the wool now, to say the least, in Chiefs Kingdom. And he came back and he's ready to roll, ready to rep. I think he's a guy that has a future here. much like you've heard me talk about some quarterbacks that have changed positions or changed teams, not positions this offseason. A pissed off player that has something to prove is a guy that I like. And Kennard has some natural talent, much like Trey Smith and Orlando Brown, needs to work on his footwork. He's more of a power guy, needs to get a little bit quicker, a little more fleet of foot, but I think he can do that. I'm really excited for what his future brings because I think he's got some versatility. If they had to put him inside at guard eventually, he could. I think that he's going to end up being a right tackle. He and Lucas Niang are going to be 1-2. We're going to see how that boils down when we know more about Lucas. So for now, those are the guys that are really standing out the first couple of days. Now, I know we got a couple questions. We'll get to them in a minute, but just remember that the cooler temperatures here helped you get through that process where you can kind of acclimate, but you're still working hard, but you're trying to acclimate as well. It's like, it can be overwhelming for some rookies. And I think this is setting them up for a precedent that really helps them. So that's great to know. And even Holly said it's refreshing. And it's in the low 80s instead of 95. That's exactly it. Like a little reprieve goes a long way. And now they'll be able to be ready for the next week. You know, we're 2 days away from the veterans reporting. And then it's on. August 1st, the pads come on. That's the first hitting part. I'm going to talk about Leo Chanel tonight on Locked On Chiefs. You guys don't miss that. I'm going to do the top 5 things that you need to know from this weekend going forward. And when pads come on is part of one of them. So don't miss that. You'll see that here up in the next hour or two. Now, that said, just showing up isn't enough. And, you know, I'm glad that there's buy-in. Kennard's got his hair right, and that's great. You need more than that. It's just a starting point. You know what I mean? It can't be the end all because it isn't enough. It doesn't win you ball games. So they have to keep pushing through. And I feel like there is a lot that they can improve on just from where they start right now. Like everyone says about how there's that second-year jump, some positions, a third-year jump. There's still a very big improvement guys can make from OTAs through the end of training camp. Kennard's one of them. I really think Skyy Moore is another, especially because he was a guy that didn't get to participate in OTAs. So there's a lot coming from both those guys. We're going to answer a couple of your questions here before we wrap up. Remember, the Sunday Breakdown is a 20, 30-minute show to wrap up the games. Breakdown will be on Thursday night for Thursday night games, Monday for Monday night games, that kind of thing. The Monday night show will be a breakdown whenever there's a Monday night game, and then we'll do Q&A another time. That's basically the way it'll work out. We'll try to flip it. We'll do Sunday, we'll do Q&A on the weeks the Chiefs are playing on Monday Night Football. So keep that in mind. Just want to go through a couple of your questions. And don't forget, tomorrow night, especially for all of you that are new, hit that sub button right now. Become one of us. We're blowing this channel up as we get ready for the season. Tomorrow night's Q&A, where I answer all of your questions in this chat, on this forum, at this time at 6 p.m. Central. So check that out. Chiefs enjoy, would Brock Bowers be in firing range for the Chiefs to pick? I can't tell you at this point. Early projections, possibly. Let's see exactly what happens. I expect the Chiefs to pick in the 30s. That's just the way that I feel. We'll see if that comes true or not. Terry, what did you have? Sad to hear about John Mechie. Yeah, that's an incredibly tough blow. I'm going to have a piece on him on the Locked On NFL Draft show probably for Tuesday. And I'll have a piece on NFL33.com for the members. Make sure you get over to NFL 33 and get signed up. You can do the paid subscriptions. You can do the free ones. You get more content with the paid. But Mechie's a tough case. I think he's got still has a future. This is going to be a tough one. Eric Berry recovered from cancer, not leukemia. It's definitely different for Mechie, but I feel like he's a resilient guy, and we're going to see something from him. I don't think this will be the end of his career. What's the ceiling for Josh Williams this year? He's one of the favorite, less talked about rookies this year. He's a fourth-round pick. To put it mildly, he's in the same position that L'Jarius Sneed was when he got drafted. If he comes in and he learns and he's able to pick it up, the mental side of the game is where he's going to make or break his season. He's got the physical part. He is all good to go in terms of his physical capabilities to play this game at this level. So I can't tell you yet. We're going to find out a lot in the next 3 weeks, and that will tell us where we start. He's got an uphill battle, but he could be one of the guys fighting for CB5 or CB6 There's a lot of guys fighting for that. So right now, with Rashad Fenton out, we'll see how long he's going to be out. It definitely helps him. I would put Josh Williams on the roster now. That would be my expectation. If Rashad Fenton stays on the PUP or goes to IR for week 1. Now, the rules are iffy. If you're on PUP, you have to be on the roster day 1 of week 1, and then they can move you to IR. So there's a little bit of rigmarole that's going to have to go in there, but I think Josh Williams is a guy that's fighting for it. So is DeAndre Baker. So is DiCaprio Bootle. Lonnie Johnson is now the number 3 in my eyes. We'll see what happens on Wednesday, when they get on the field. We'll see who's running with the ones. It will be L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie. Will it be Lonnie Johnson? We'll talk about that probably more tomorrow night. So make sure you guys are back for that. Got a couple more questions we're going to answer, and we will get you guys on your way. Don't forget to like and sub and hit the bell. Grab those shirts in the RGR store. I'm working on some hats as well, and definitely have all the the Yetis and all that kind of stuff. Thank you, Terry. Is Leo okay since he had heat exhaustion yesterday? It was just heat related. They didn't call it exhaustion. He was back on the field today and practiced. In fact, he had a decent day. I'll talk about that on Locked On Chiefs tonight. So don't miss that. It'll be here on the channel and on all the audio platforms. What are we doing at defensive end? Right now, they're holding their breath. They are holding their breath that Frank Clark comes in and looks explosive and looks lighter and leaner and can get off the ball. They're holding their breath that Karlaftis is everything that they hope he can be, and that he's a little improved physically. Haven't heard his name much the last 2 days. Let's see what happens when the team gets here and the pads go on. That's going to be different. One injury away is a question. I will tell you this. Malik Herring looked pretty good today from what I understand, and there's some question about what the depth chart's really going to look like at defensive end. I do think they will be combing everything to see if they can make an acquisition as well. Sean, I know highlights are called that for a reason, but the way Pacheco reminds me a lot of Damian Williams. Am I crazy? Not necessarily. Pacheco, I think he just likes contact a little bit too much. I think he would actually help himself out if he tried to be a little shiftier. I think he's got it in him, not a huge change, but a little bit. And I think that would actually help his production. We'll see what he looks like when he gets some preseason action, and he's going to get a lot. So I'm looking forward to it, Sean. And Patrick, good evening to you. I'm very curious about why McDuffie isn't a vocal point to this rookie class. Seems like George and Skyy and everyone else are. It's because people don't really know him. He's the top pick in this draft class for a reason. He has the most upside, the capability to be the best player in this class. No doubt about it. Dan and I are really high on him because we watched him. A lot of folks, because he played at Washington and was out west, and the whole hangover from Marcus Peters, a lot of folks kind of like blow off the Washington DBs now, and I don't. I think he's a guy, yes, he has shorter arms, but he had a good day yesterday, had a couple of tips from what I understand, took one in 7-on-7s. I think he's a guy that's going to make a lot of noise once we get into the late preseason and start looking at, we are going to be okay on that side of the ball with him manning it. It's going to be all right. And then come the regular season, I think he's going to be a guy that they will learn to lean on really quickly. That's my personal opinion. Cole, in terms of the draft cast, how many of the 10 do you expect to make the 53? Let's see. Both the ones, both the twos, Leo, that's 5. I think Josh makes it. He's the 4. Who else do we have? I'm going to say 7 overall. We'll see what the fight becomes, and we'll know more closer to cut down day. We'll see what's going on. Let's see. Josh, thank you very much. Appreciate your support. Teams getting their butts kicked by the Chiefs for a long time will breed some hate there, buddy. That's the way that it works. It will simmer down when somebody else. Everybody loves to hate everybody who's winning. Jeremy, they hate us because they ain't us. That's it. That is it. And Josh, that's the limit of what I've heard about Josh Williams, just that he's in there fighting and scrappy, and he looks solid so far. We'll see what the position battle comes down to. That's it for me tonight, folks. Quick and easy. Hope you guys are doing great. I'll be back tomorrow for the Q&A, and we'll have everything done. Like, sub, hit the bell. Make sure that you're part of us. If you become a member, you can join and get into the Discord as well. We have a lot going on, and I'm super pumped. Going to change my plans for training camp. I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to be able to be there. There's a problem schedule-wise with that week following the first preseason. So I'm going to have to scrap that and kind of start my plans over. So if you guys are going to be at training camp in August, let me know when, and I'll try to let you guys know as soon as I can figure out when I'm going to be there. Hit the like on this video, hit the sub. Thanks, you guys. Have a great Sunday night, and I'll talk